As we all know, Artur Beterbiev was offered a mega showdown fight with Saul Canelo Alvarez, but he actually turned it down. Not because he's scared of Canelo, but because he does not want Canelo to take all the stipulations and everything in the contract. He is the undisputed champion and he should respect that. That's what he said. Well, we all know that Canelo Alvarez is the #1 face of boxing and he does get to dictate everything. And Gervonta Tank Davis is the #2 face of boxing. But the difference between Canelo and Tank Davis is that Canelo is already proven and he actually worked his way up to get this position. And Gervonta Tank Davis has not done that yet. He has fought a lot of solid fighters, but he has not fought the top echelon of fighters that he should be fighting, like the Shakur Stevensons, the Lomachenko. Now that was not Tank Davis's fault. That was Lomachenko's fault. But so yeah, I give him credit for that one. But other than that, it looks like he's trying to avoid fighters. Canelo is just trying to avoid David Benavidez, but he fought everybody else in the past. Look at Triple G, look at Miguel Cotto, and so on. So that is the bad news, that we will not be getting Artur Beterbiev versus Canelo Alvarez, which that will be an exciting fight. But instead, the good news is that we will have Artur Beterbiev against David Benavidez, only if David Benavidez beats David Morrell, which is not an easy task because Dave Morrell at least passes the eye test. But both of them in their last performances were not that great. I think Benavidez did do a poor job against Bostic, but later on it was stated that David Benavidez actually had a hand injury. And David Morrell did not do that good on his last fight either. But this fight is going to be amazing because they're both similar size. And I believe David Benavidez actually beats David Morrell. But who knows? This is boxing. Now, if Artur Beterbiev and David Benavidez do lock horns, that is going to be a 50-50 fight. Even though the Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol was really a 50-50 fight, some of the fans from Beterbiev thought Beterbiev won, and some of the fans from Bivol thought Bivol won. And I really thought Beterbiev won. At first, I thought Bivol won, but no, once I watched the fight again, yeah, Beterbiev won by 1 round, which is a 50-50 fight, and it shouldn't be scaled down. They should have a rematch, but I want to see David Benavidez versus Beterbiev first before I want to see the Bivol versus Beterbiev rematch, because we already seen that fight. And I want to watch something fresh, not a reheated plate. But win, lose, or draw, I still want to see the winner fight Bivol. If David Benavidez beats Artur Beterbiev, that doesn't mean that he's going to be able to beat Bivol, because styles do make fights. And who knows, maybe Bivol beats David Benavidez, even though we already all know that David Benavidez gave Bivol the work in sparring, and I believe he actually stopped Bivol in sparring. So I mean, it could be playing the same way, because look at Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. The sparring session that Ryan Garcia leaked was exactly how the fight played out with it when they fought in the pros, in the ring for the money, which this one counts. And if Canelo Alvarez is willing to go up to 175 and lock horns with these 3 champions, that'll be amazing as well. And maybe even David Morrell. It depends how he does against David Benavidez. Just because I think David Benavidez is going to beat David Morrell doesn't mean it's not going to be a 50-50 fight, and Dave Morrell will put up a hell of a fight, which I really do think he does. But I still think David Benavidez still beats David Morrell no matter what, which way you slice it. But if Canelo Alvarez does move up to 175 again and challenge these great champions, then it's going to be an amazing fight, because Canelo Alvarez does have all the skills to pay the bills. Canelo Alvarez is not the biggest 175 pounder, but guess what? He's like my saying, he ain't the biggest, he's the baddest. And Tank Davis could use my saying too. Tank Davis ain't the biggest, he's the baddest. But I mean, he still needs to be Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, and Devin Haney to claim that right. But Dave Morrell does pass the eye test, and if he does beat David Benavidez, I wouldn't be that surprised. I will be surprised, but not like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened. It's the greatest upset in the world. I won't be like that, but I'd be like, man, I thought David Benavidez was gonna win. But I really do think he's gonna win. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I will bet on it for David Benavidez to win. But I mean, if Dave Morrell beats him, I mean, it's boxing, you know, like one punch can change the whole fight. And David Benavidez has been dropped before, so you just never know in boxing because this is boxing. Hey, but guess what, guys? I ain't the biggest, I'm the baddest.
Welcome to the world!